Now for our roundtable with our longtime News Channel 5 political analyst Brian Crowley. And Brian, we'll be talking about DeSantis versus Newsom, Florida versus California. So let's tee it up with a recap from Forrest Saunders.
Right from the get-go.
Governors, thank you both for being here. Really appreciate it.
It was fireworks in the Fox News stage.
You almost have to try to mess California up. And yeah, that's what Gavin Newsom has done since he's been governor.
But there's one thing in closing that we have in common is neither of us will be the nominee for our party in 2024.
Governor Gavin Newsom, Governor Ron DeSantis not giving each other an inch or really a chance to speak.
Guys, I'm going to let the debate breathe.
The Florida Republican and California Democrats sparred for more than an hour on topics like taxes.
He has one of the most regressive tax rates in the United States of America. It's the #3 most regressive state.
And COVID policy.
You were a lockdown governor. You did a lot of damage to your people. You had more kids locked out of school for a longer period of time in California than anywhere else in the country.
You closed down your beaches, your bars, your restaurants.
False.
It's a fact.
You
had quarantines.
False.
You had quarantines. You had checkpoints all over the state of Florida. By the way, I didn't say that. Donald Trump laid you out on this.
On immigration, Newsom hit DeSantis for his controversial migrant relocation program.
I'm the only guy here that's a border state governor. You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games to try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you?
While DeSantis bashed Newsom on California's population losses.
So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he was really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law.
Both politicians likely to walk away with high marks from their supporters. Former President Donald Trump's campaign, meanwhile, took a shot at both of them with this pre-debate statement calling DeSantis, quote, thirsty AF. Quote, instead of actually campaigning and trying to turn around his dismal poll numbers, DeSantis is now so desperate for attention that he's debating a grade A loser like Gavin Newsom. At the Capitol, Forrest Saunders, WPTV News Channel 5.
Well then, Brian, take it away.
Well, in fairness to Governor DeSantis, Governor Newsom was not correct about the closing of beaches and some of the other things that he stated. Ron DeSantis took a lot of early action in trying to protect everyone against COVID, but he quickly disagreed with what was coming out of the White House and what was coming out of the CDC and went down his own path. And time will tell whether or not he gets credit for that. They both, fibbed a lot. They both exaggerated a lot. And I think the only viewers who really matter watching that debate were the folks in Iowa and New Hampshire, because they're the ones that are actually going to vote. And the question we'll find in the days ahead, did this stunt, if you will, help Ron DeSantis move forward? I'm not exactly sure what it was doing for Gavin Newsom, unless he's hoping that Joe Biden drops out. But, it was a very unique moment. We usually don't get debates like this in the middle of a presidential campaign, especially this late in a presidential campaign. Frankly, it would have been more interesting had Sean Hannity arranged for Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to debate on the stage.
Who are actually running against one another. Some did argue, though, that at least, if not for 2024, sets up for 2028, the next generation of those who aspire to the nation's highest office and everything from education to crime to immigration to taxes, to the abortion debate. Did you think that in that sense there was enough in between the screaming and yelling, enough delineation where people got an early sense of what that debate will someday be like?
No. We're at 2028. We're in 2023. There aren't any voters out there thinking about 2028.
No, but I simply mean in terms of setting up contrasting visions that people will start looking at.
Had you asked me 5 years ago what the world would look like today in this election year,
yeah.
Who would predict what?
5 minutes ago, for that matter.
So I just don't think anybody remembers or cares when it comes to 2028. Most people aren't even focused on 2024 yet.
Yeah, well, exactly. A stunt? Of course, you and I watched it start to finish, but
well, for both
political
of them,
junkies that we are.
I mean, for both of them, it was look. It was beneficial for Ron DeSantis. He got 90 minutes of airtime on a friendly station, Fox, with a friendly moderator, Sean Hannity, where most of the audience was probably Republican voters, and that was helpful Ron DeSantis. He got 90 minutes of a free campaign ad.
Talk about Ron DeSantis outside of the debate as we move forward, because time is a-ticking to January 15th. Iowa, New Hampshire, right behind that. Your thoughts?
Well, he keeps, on Friday, Adam Laxalt, who roomed with him in the Navy, they're supposed to be good personal friends, resigned as chairman of the Never Back Down Committee, which is the major PAC that has been backing Ron DeSantis. The CEO of the committee resigned a week earlier. There's been all kinds of shifts in personnel. There have been people fired. There have been people who have quit. You suddenly have the Koch brothers supporting Nikki Haley and being willing to spend a small fortune helping her. There's a lot of disarray within the DeSantis campaign. Even his campaign manager, another campaign manager for him, has zero experience running a presidential campaign.
How did what started with such aspirations, and he was the media, frankly, front page articles, every big newspaper, news magazines, he's the one to take on Donald Trump. From there to here, they'll be talking about it for a while, unless the here changes in a hurry.
Yeah, look, I don't know what the voters in Iowa are going to do on January 15th. I mean, that's the reality, and while things for now seem like they're going in Nikki Haley's favor, look, between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, there's still 20, 30 points, depending on what poll you want to believe, behind Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis, the one complaint you always hear about him is he lacks personality. He doesn't know how to smile. He doesn't know how to really mingle with people. In states like Iowa and New Hampshire, that's particularly important. You really have to be able to not just shake hands, but actually look them in the eye and have a polite conversation and act like you're really interested in what they're saying. He's never been known for being good at that and at that kind of retail politics. But the flip side of that is he has an enormous organization in Iowa. He's gone all 99 counties. He's really working hard in Iowa. Governor Sununu in New Hampshire suggested maybe he's working too hard in Iowa because he's not paying enough attention to New Hampshire, which happens 8 days after Iowa. So it's possible that he'll come in I can't imagine he'll beat Donald Trump in Iowa, but who knows? But he may turn out that he'll come in a very strong second in Iowa.
Talk about the former president going forward on into December. You and I are going to turn around the new year, and then it's officially game on. Talk about that. Of course, we know all of the legal challenges. That would be putting it lightly that he faces. We also know where he stands in the polls right now. Talk about 2024 as you sort of assess the political calculus for Donald Trump.
Well, I think we're going to find out just how loyal, not the MAGA folks, but those middle-of-the-road Republicans who are right now still leaning toward Donald Trump, interested in some potential options. Do more of them start drifting away to either Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis as we get closer to the reality of actually voting? It's one thing over the last year to be cheering on Donald Trump, and by golly, those evil Democrats and the corrupt Washington are trying to destroy him. But when they get to the reality of dealing with this, they may want somebody where it's a little quieter. Certainly Ron DeSantis is counting on that.
There was a time where you would never on a debate stage just bluntly say as the sitting president in cognitive decline. But there it was last night. Among the questions that Joe Biden will face about the economy, about has he done enough to tame inflation, about whether he got the mental acuity, his critics argue, to continue in this job. Talk about that challenge ahead for him.
Yeah, when you get attacked, you have to have a good counterattack. So the difficult thing for Joe Biden is that many Democrats wonder if he's in cognitive decline. So if your own folks around you are uncertain, that bolsters what Republicans are saying. Look, he tends to look frail. A lot of that may have to do with the fact that he has some physical injuries that he's dealing with, and that slows him down and makes him look a little frail. He tends to look a little hesitant when he's speaking. On the flip side of that, some people around him say that he's making all decisions, he's speaking clearly, he understands what's going on, there's no cognitive decline. The doctors have said that about him. You know, I don't know the truth.
The debate goes on, and we'll be back with your final thoughts in just a moment.